Greetings, students. This is Irvin M. Howard, EMH Math Portal, online math tutor. Today we're going to look at zero exponent rule. And it's a very simple rule. Like all other bases and exponents, the base is going to be raised with a power of 0. Notice that a power of 0 gives it a different effect. If we look at this rule right here that I've written down, if A is any non-zero real number, then A raised to the power of 0 equals to 1. It's a simple rule. Any base raised with the power of 0 will give you the value of 1. All right? And I put a little note that this only applies if A is any non-zero real number. It has to have a value. 0 for the base does not have value. So I've written this here that 0 raised to the power of 0 is not a real number. So that does not apply. That's the only instance that it does not apply, when the value is not going to be 1. All right. So the base must be a non-zero real number. Okay, let's look at some examples. Suppose I have this problem right here, 200 raised to the power of 0. All right, 200 raised to the power of 0. If you look at 200, it is a base that is a non-zero real number, and it's raised to the power of 0. So it does apply to the formula, and that will give you the value of 1. All right. Let's try another one. Let's try the variable and the coefficient and variable. 7y raised to the power of 0. All right. Notice that there is a coefficient in front of the y value, or the y variable, raised to the power of 0. Again, when you have variables with coefficients or numbers, or base numbers, the value is unknown because we don't know what y is, but we can assume that y is some number, some non-zero real number. All right? Okay. So we look at it and we only apply whatever the exponent is raised to a power of some base. In this case, it's the base of y, not 7. So the closest variable, or you can say maybe a base where the integer power is next to, that's the one we'll look at. All right, so we're looking just at this. So we're going to keep the 7, and then y raised to the power of 0 will give you 1. And then that equals to the value of 7. All right, that's the only case that you'll have. All your bases that have raised power of 0 will give you the value 1, and then it's that 1 times whatever the coefficient in front of the variable, which was happen to be y, and that's 7. So 7 times 1 will give you 7. All right, let's try another one. Let's try something different. Y, we're going to have a negative y raised to the power of 0. All right, okay? We have y raised to the power of negative y raised to the power of 0. So again, we look at the base and the exponent. In this case, it applies. All right, so if we can just somehow isolate the negative and just, in a way, let's not focus on it right now, but let's just focus on this. And then we can isolate the negative for just temporary purposes to give us the value of what the 0 exponent will apply in this case. So y raised to the power of 0. All right. So negative, I'm going to put parentheses just to illustrate, by helping us to focus just on the y raised to the power of 0. All right. So that's equals to 1, and then this negative times the 1 will give you a negative 1. All right, good. All right, let's try one more, and we're going to try something different. We're going to try, now they talked about polynomials, excuse me. I'm going to write this example. Yes, I'll use this example. It's somewhat illustrated. Okay, negative parenthesis 7x plus 9 raised to the power 0. Alright. Now, probably what you think is that you're going to raise the power of each coefficient or variable or value that's within the parenthesis. You have to notice that the parenthesis surrounds the whole expression. So that means that it's the whole base. All of this represents the base. Alright? All of this whole thing represents the base. So we're going to treat it as A. So that means that all of this is represented as A, the base. Alright? That's only when you have a parenthesis around the expression raised to the power 0. So because of that, we're going to still represent this as A. Alright? So it's A raised to the power of 0. And anything raised to the power of 0 will give you 1. So we're going to separate this. Alright? And then this is going to be 1 because we're going to separate the negative within the parenthesis. Alright? Because the parenthesis was there already to illustrate that the 0 power was raised for this whole entire expression, which is considered the base. And then notice that when you raise the power equals to 1, the exponents are gone. Then you have negative times 1, which will give you negative 1. All right? Because, you know, the exponent rule is it is the simplest rule to remember. The rule of thumb is that the base cannot be 0 when you raise the power with 0. Okay, this is Irvin M. Howard as your EMH math tutor, and thank you for this session, and we'll look at the next video shortly to talk about our next series. Use the rule for raising a power to a power. Okay, again, these are just small segments of learning the properties, because the real challenge is we're going to use all these properties to solve exponential expressions. You have a good day, and again, life is worth living.